Om Shri Sai Ram. My dear Swami, by your blessing on this occasion of Ugadi, Chaitra Navratri, Gudi Padwa, Cheti Chand, Baisakhi, Charoba, Navre, Navroz, and the month of Ramadan. We have a special occasion today, as you can see from all the names I just cited. So, Sai Ram brothers and sisters, welcome to the 17th edition of Samarpan program here at Sarva Dharma Service Center in Farmingdale Borough, Howell Township, New Jersey, United States. Today, on this special day, I have the honor to introduce our Samarpan speaker for the month, Brother Santosh Rajput. Brother Santosh's journey with Swami began when he was just a young boy studying in a primary school at Puttaparthi in the year 1988-89. His family has been devoted to Swami before even Brother Santosh's birth. He was fortunate to grow up surrounded by Swami's teachings and principles. His parents were pivotal in running many Seva Samitis and leading activities in Punjab, inspiring Brother Santosh's dedication and commitment to serving others. We also know firsthand his sister Suman and her family, who actively serve at the center on major occasions. Santosh's own experiences and observations have reinforced the importance of Swami's message of love, compassion, and selflessness. He has become an active participant in various Seva activities and groups founded on Swami's principles of love and service. Brother Santosh holds a bachelor's in commerce degree from Punjab University, India, and a master's degree in business administration from De Montfort University, Leicester, England. He's an information technology services professional with over 20 years of experience, having worked in some of the most prestigious companies in the industry, including UST Global, SSI Technologies, Capgemini, and Tech-M. In addition to his professional achievements, Brother Santosh remains deeply committed to Swami's teachings and values, which he sees as the foundation of his success in all aspects of his life. He has been deeply involved in Swami's organization for many years. Brother Santosh is a skilled tabla player and a very good singer, I would like to add, as we saw in our bhajan today. He lives with his family in Plainsboro, New Jersey, along with his wife, Kathy, who sister has been here today attending with us, and son Sid, who is currently a sophomore at Rutgers University. The Rajput family are all dedicated to giving back to their community and living the principles of Sai, which emphasizes love, service, and gratitude. Brother Santosh has indicated that he feels blessed to have the opportunity to share his thoughts and experiences with all of us today. With this, I'd like to invite Brother Santosh Rajput to the podium and request him to share with us his experience with Swami for the next 70 minutes or so. Welcome, Brother Santosh. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram to all. Pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Firstly, thank you so much for this opportunity on this auspicious occasion. Brother Sai, my firstly humble apologies to you first up. He was kind enough to share the format. I did listen to some of the speakers who have come before me, very, very inspiring speeches, sharing of the experiences. I started working on similar lines. And I started preparing a PowerPoint presentation as usual, being an IT professional. Midway somewhere during the week, when Sai Brother reminded me that I was to be here on Saturday morning, Navratris had started, I was doing my sadhana, and I just prayed and I said, Swami, what do you want me to speak? And you all will laugh now when I say this. The first thing he said is, no PPT. Then I said, okay, what next? And he keeps smiling. And I said, no, you need to give me something that I need to speak with, because being in the industry, as you all can imagine, we always prepare, do dress rehearsals and take some notes. And you can see I'm empty-handed today, right? And he says, break the rule. I said, I'm already notoriously known in my family and my friend circle for being an outlier. Being not an outlaw, I would say outlier. And I said, Swami, please, something else. And he says, no, break the rules. And that's how I've thought through. Even last night before sleeping, and I said, Swami, please, that's little too much. I'm going to speak to some nice people. Please give me something else. And he wakes me up in the night and says, break the rules. And I counter argue and I say, why? And he smiled and said, I broke all the rules for you. And you should share with everyone how I broke all the rules for you. I'll start with a small incident, which again, Swami reminded me this morning, and my parents are today in Puttaparthi instantly. I spoke to my father on the way to this place, and father reminded me how our first interaction with Swami, first interview with Swami had happened. And it was my great fortune, I would say. And how the whole events had unfolded. So the first time Swami asked me to speak, and if on the Zoom call, any of my old schoolmates or anybody's listening, they'll remember that I froze. Swami asked me to get up and speak, and I couldn't utter a word. From there till today, I still remember how I froze there. My legs were shivering. It was a prayer hall where we all students sat, and Swami had asked me to speak, and I froze. Right? Then my principal, Muni Auntie, again, she's the Divine Mother again there. She kind of trained and said, no, you have to learn this and learn that. And the first thing that I had spoken in front of Swami was a Hindi couplet that I started my experiences with, or the speech with, was, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. It's in Hindi, so please forgive me for that. But the meaning essentially is, before writing any taqdeer is your destiny, God himself should ask the person, what should I write for you? You have to expand yourself so much. Now, relating this to what Swami has been telling me, break the rules, it's essentially we say that God writes our destiny. And here the couplet says, God is asking you, tell me what should I write for you? You are the creator of your own destiny. And again, reliving those moments when I was a young kid in the assembly hall, speaking in front of Swami, and then he blessed and so forth. But the essence of that still remains. I think today's message from my side, Swami's side, I'm just the medium, is break the rules. And on my way, a 40-minute drive or so, I was just thinking about this. What does it mean actually to break the rules? So while in primary school, we all lived in rules, right? So to say, we all are disciplined followers. Let me give you an example. Primary school kids, actually never played in the mandir, the tabla, or sang bhajans in the mandir. I don't know if any of you can vouch for that. Primary school kids were never allowed. It was our batch, the first batch, the Swami actually asked us to play in the mandir. And now it all didn't go well. Please, let me tell you first up, right? One of my classmates started one bhajan and he started in a shruti that nobody could follow or nobody could sing. And Swami had to stop and say, no, not this, start from here. I was playing the tabla. I didn't know how to tune the tabla. I still don't know. Swami said, no, tighten it a little bit more. That's his loving care of a mother, of a father, of a teacher. And that's how Swami was. He's always been like that. So from simple breaking the rule of letting us play in the mandir, starting with breaking the rules today. How many of you know that Swami ate a very little lunch? Right? And the lunch came from, you all might know, please go ahead, share. Swami's sister, right? So we were fortunate enough, I'm sharing this very, very personal, I've never shared this before, but we were fortunate enough to carry lunch for Swami. So Muni auntie prepared, warden auntie, kitchen auntie, of course they are no more, but wherever they are, we took lunch for Swami, and Swami would eat a little and say, this is for you guys. And the best part was during the festivals, the brinjal that Annapurna Akka used to prepare was the best brinjal. Best. Breaking the rules. We were not allowed to go in the afternoons anywhere outside the primary school, but we were allowed to carry the lunch for Swami's meals. One day, sitting in school, parents used to visit us, and my father came in and we were sitting on a Sunday. My sister was in Anantapur. I was alone there. And we were just talking and I was asking Dad, did you touch Swami's feet today during the darshan? And he said, no. My father being very, very disciplined, very, very, very disciplined. For 16 years or so, he had been coming to Parthi, but he had never touched Swami's feet. Even though he got the first row, he had never touched Swami's feet. And I was like, Dad, you are sitting in the first row. Swami is standing in front of you. And he would always just sit there and say, Swami, can I touch your feet? I'm like, dude, touch. There. He's there. But this is discipline, right? Break the rules. We have to. But my father never did. And I was very deeply touched by this, that 16 years my father has been coming to Parthi, sometimes even 2 or 3 times in a year. And he never touched Swami's feet. And by that time, I had already been there for a year or so. And I was like, I touch his feet every day. I get to touch his hand almost every time I go for darshan. Get to speak to him. I was like, Swami, why? And again, it was my birthday and parents were there. I went for darshan and I said, Swami, parents have come. Can we talk to you? Swami said, yes, kahan hai parents? Called the parents. We went inside. We were sitting inside the interview room and Swami suddenly is talking to all of us and suddenly he says, make way. He says, make way. Inside the interview room, he says, make way. And my father sitting again in the end there because discipline, right? He has to follow, everybody goes in and I'm the first one near the chair. I'm like in the interview room, Swami saying, make way, and he makes way for everyone. And then he points at my father. He says, come here. He brings my father to the front. He looks at him, lifts his chola, his feet till his legs are seen, and he says, do Pad Namaskaram. My father burst out in tears. I was sitting next. As a young kid, emotions are very difficult to come by, but even I burst out in tears because I remembered my conversation with my dad a few days back. Sorry. Swami pats his back, gives him a lot of blessing. And everybody in the interview room is sitting there. Only me and my dad know the connection. He had not broken a rule. Never. 16 years, imagine, coming to Parthi and not having touched Swami's feet. And there was Swami giving him the chance. We went into the personal interview room. My father had some trouble with his stomach for many years. And inside the personal interview room, Swami just scolds my father and says, I know what you're doing. And he says, when your wife goes out, he says, you've kept a tablet bottle in the cupboard in the kitchen. You open it, you take the tablets. Before anybody comes, you take them and you're not telling anybody. And my father is crying. And then Swami says, I know everything, but I know everything. And then he says, lift your shirt. And my father's a little shy at that point of time. He's crying. He says, no, lift your shirt. And my father lifts his shirt. Swami rubs his stomach and says, now you will be fine. Thoda bahut hoga, but you will be fine. This is his loving nature. This is his loving way of helping us, loving way of caring for us. We do not necessarily need to tell him every time what we need. He knows our needs. We don't need to break the rules, but sometimes we do need to break the rules. So I'll tell you the incident about breaking the rules, how all this started. Primary school kids actually never got interviewed before that. I kind of know that before our batch, we were never called in for interviews. One of my classmates, his name is Ratnakar Panda. We sat in Parthi and we used to share experiences with each other. And one of the days we were sitting and sharing experiences, and he told me about his grandfather, who was a MP or a MLA, I don't recollect. But Mr. Panda was a dignitary, a politician in India. And he had gone to London for some of the government official work and so forth. And this is Ratnakar telling me his grandfather's experience. And he says, when he came back from the trip, Swami called him for an interview. And during the interview, Swami called him and said, how was your trip? And he said, Swami, wonderful trip, very nice. I saw this, I saw that. And then suddenly Swami looks at him and looks at everybody and says, this man was standing in front of that watch shop, looking at it. He liked that watch so much. And he's like, my grandfather started thinking, which watch, which shop, where? And Swami said, I know everything. And then Swami just waves his hand, pulls out a watch and says, isn't this the watch? He said, it was 10,000 pounds and he didn't even have 10,000 rupees in his pocket. That's why he went away from there. Again, money is not the point here, but the point is the experience. Swami pulled out the watch, corrected the time, asked the people the time. He corrected the time, asked his hand, made him wear the watch. As a young kid, I heard this, and I had never even aspired for an interview till then. But this sharing of the incident suddenly got me into this, I want an interview. Now, what is an interview? I have no clue, but I want an interview now. So I go for darshan, and Swami, as usual, calls us in and he talks to us and all that. But I'm like, Swami, I want an interview. And Swami's like, what? I want an interview. I'm like, you're talking to me. What interview you want? I'm like, I want an interview. And he says, hey, Dunga, get out. And he shoves me out of the room and he's like, go, give this sweets or something we were distributing that day. And he's like, just threw me out of the room. And I'm like, no, I want an interview. I want that experience. I come back to school and suddenly this whole childish play turns very serious. And I said, no, I want an interview. My friends, couple of my friends, Ratnakar again, he said like, Santosh, that's for bade logon ke liye. Bade ho jaoge, fir milega. I want an interview now. I stop eating. So the news travels to auntie, and poor auntie. She had so much trouble with me. She comes to me and she explains, beta, it's okay. Swami talks to you every day. Every time we go for darshan, Swami speaks to you. What else do you want? I said, interview. Now it was stuck in my head because I needed to break the rule. Uh, 2 days, 3 days, 3 days. I didn't eat. I just prayed. I just prayed. And I just prayed. And I just prayed. Bunny auntie was very worried. And she said, okay, let's do one thing. Go for darshan tomorrow. It was Wednesday. Thursday we used to go for darshans. Correct? Thursday we used to go. So she said, okay, go on Wednesday, Baba. Leave me alone, please. Go talk to him directly. I go for darshan. I sit. Swami comes. Doesn't even look at me. Normally when people come from primary school on an off day, Swami looks at them and blesses them because they're typically there for birthdays. Ignores me royally. And I can't control my tears. I'm like, I just want an interview. What else am I asking for? Can't you break one small rule for me? Small rule. Goes, picks up people for interview. He goes inside, locks the door, and I am crying. Khyaldas uncle was alive still then, and he looked at me and he's like, what's wrong with you? You're such a blessed fellow. Swami talks to you every time. Why are you like this? And I said, I want interview. He's like, कुछ नहीं, interview में वही बात करते हैं तुमसे. मैंने कहा नहीं, but I want interview. Again, I'm not saying about the interview, but it's about the small, pure wishes that we may have in our heart and how ardently we pray for that. And loving Sai, loving mother, always obliges. But again, this time, there was no chance. The door had closed, everybody had got up and gone, and I was sitting there crying. Normally, interviews last for 45 minutes or so. Is that right? The first batch, right? 10 minutes, Swami opens the door. 10 minutes. Everybody out. My hopes are up again. Swami might call for a second round. And I'm sitting there and I'm praying that Swami just calls me and it happens. Swami calls Goldstein. Mr. Goldstein was there and he calls him and says, call your wife. And he's in a very jovial mood and he's cracking some jokes and so forth. And I'm like, please, no chance. He closes the door. He goes inside, closes the door. As the door is shutting, the door opens again. And I'm just, you. I would have never gone those 10 meters faster than Usain Bolt or whatever. I've bolted inside. I went inside. By the time everybody had settled in for the second round, Swami went and sat there. So I was a little bit at the back. He's talking to all of them. There was some poster or something that he was printing in. And he introduced everybody to me and he said, he's so-and-so. And there was a lady in the room. She was Olympic something, gold medal. And he introduced us and said, he's a student in primary school and so forth. And suddenly he looks at me and says, come here. calls me in the front, and just keeps looking at me for like few seconds, and it felt like eternity. And that few seconds that he looked into my eyes, he just said what it meant. I can't explain, but simply it meant that I know what you're thinking. He waves his hand and pulls out a watch. Word by word that Ratnakar had shared with me, exact same way. He asks everybody for time. He sets the watch, asks me to give my hand to him, ties the watch, and then he looks at me and says, "Now happy?" And I'm like, ecstatic. I'm over the top. I'm extremely delighted, happy. And this has never happened. I mean, like, never thought that way, but I was thinking that way actually. But it's coming real now. It's happening in front of me. So I take Namaskar and I sit down there. I'm not leaving that place anymore, right? I'm in the front now, so I'm sitting there. So I start pressing his feet. And he's talking and he's talking and he's talking. So quite a lot of discussion and good thoughts and so forth. And then he looks at me and says, "Press properly, no?" I'm like, "Okay, sorry. Okay, I'll press properly." So I start pressing again. I was doing it very delicately. Honestly, I was doing delicately because... And then after that, I started pressing. So he's like, "No Shakti." I'm like, "Oh shit, what did I do now?" He's like, "No Shakti." And then he looks at everybody in the interview room and says, "This fellow has not eaten for the last 3 days. My headache." And he tells me, "Do like this." And I do like this. He waves his hand and just keeps pouring in. And hot bundi fills my cupped hands to the brim. And then he gives everybody little bit from from my hands in the interview room. And he's looking at me and saying, "Don't worry, I'm not giving too much. I'm leaving it for you." And then he says, "Eat." This beautiful incident, I felt inspired to share with all of you all. Again, a little bit of breaking of the rules. I think in our real lives, in today's changing world, with Swami not with us in his physical form, we need to adapt. We need to learn. We need to probably change a few things around us. And I would encourage each one of us in our families, in our daily lives, to be open to change. That's the only permanent thing, I guess. It's as much as about learning, it's about unlearning also, because the times are changing. For us to carry his message forward, we may need to make it a little bit more acceptable to everyone, so to say. His message is for everyone. And I'm, again, not saying break the rules, but yeah, a little bit break the rules. He does for us. We expect him to break the rules for us. For him, we can break our rules sometimes. And I think that's what he's expecting us. He's hoping from us and he's asking us to do. His loving self. I've never come to a forum like this before, but I've spoken in Punjab, in many places, shared my experiences in many stages. I think the time is right now for all of us, for me. I think we all just need to move forward. That's the message. At one point in my life, when I saw Swami on wheelchair, I couldn't take it. I went to Parthi, I couldn't take it. I just couldn't take it. And I said, I'm not coming back. I started on a quest where I said, I will connect to you without your physical form, beyond your physical form. And that's my quest. I'm still on that journey. He connects, he breaks the rules, he comes in, helps wherever needed. He's always there, even if I forget. I think my quest today, it's become more of, let me ask you guys, when there are bad times or low times in life, the kind of prayer, the earnestness that comes through, does it come through in happy times? Please feel free. No? I don't know why, but it is true, right? When there is trouble, the tears just flow. When you want something, the tears just flow. God forbid somebody is not well, you would like honestly praying, Swami, make him all right, make her all right, make them all right. But when everything is all right, do we come and say thank you? Do we express our gratitude? Can we shed those tears for him at that point of time when we are happy? That Kabir's doha, right? Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. Sukh mein sumiran jo kare, dukh kahe ko hoye. Right? That's essentially what he was saying to us, right? That's the problem. It's not just your and my problem. It's a age-old problem. But I think we being so close to Swami, having had his blessings, having had learned his teachings firsthand, I think we are definitely blessed, and it's our responsibility to a large extent that we bring about that change. We bring about that change. Break the rules. I'll come back to that. He's still saying break the rules. Till 10th standard, I had not watched TV. Sai students here, right, Didi? Any other Sai students? No? Okay. So we were not allowed to watch TV. I'm sure you all know, you're aware of that, right? At those days, it was very, very strict. And even when I go back for holidays, I rarely went for holidays back. But we were not allowed to watch TV. One of these vacations, I actually didn't go, and I was there in Perthi. And evening darshan time, Swami comes and he's very mad. He's very upset. I'm like, what did I do? I'm sitting here. And he's like, how much love I give you guys, and you still. I'm like, what still? I have no clue. And he says, where is that friend? I'm like, which friend? He's like, that Sikkim wala ladka. I had classmate Vikas. Where is he? I was like, Swami, he's gone home. He's not gone home. He's watching a movie in the theater now. I was like, hey Bhagwan, मैंने कुछ नहीं किया यार. But the brunt, everybody has to face. The whole batch got blessings, right? So the whole batch gets beatings also now. There's no phone those days, no mobile phones that you can text and WhatsApp and say, buddy, get out from there or you're going to get into trouble. And then Swami just walks straight from that men's section, straight to the other side, goes to Muni Auntie and says, see that boy? The breaking of the rules can happen on both sides, but not in the wrong way. He won't accept it. Right? But his loving way of telling, the message is not a movie or I would say even breaking the rules, but it's just that I think today's message was Dharma. Right? The Dharma is when nobody's watching you, you're doing the right thing or doing the same thing. That's what Swami's message was. The physical form is the most difficult form, honestly, with Swami. To have been with Swami in his physical form was the most difficult thing. We would be singing Atmaram, Sarva, omniscient, omnipresent. Swami would walk in and say, "What did you have for breakfast?" And I would like, "Idli, Swami." Like, doesn't he know? You just sang. You're just calling him omnipresent. But that's his Leela. Sometimes we don't understand that. He breaks those rules for us. Otherwise, what would he ask us? Because he knows everything. Why does he even need to come in the form, in flesh and blood? Why does he even need to do that? A little bit there, here and there. We'll change the gear a little bit. He teaches us all these messages. I think one incident that I shared during that speech also, I'll share with you guys. One very beautiful incident. I liked halwa a lot. Aate ka halwa. I don't know. South Indian, we have kesari. It's the same thing in Punjab. We make aate ka halwa. I love it. I still do. Can't eat much, but okay. Whatever I can, right? As a kid, and I come from school and I'm like, I want to eat halwa. And my mom's like, okay, I'll make. And I'm like, no, make now. She's like, khana to khale. Maine kaha, nahi, khana is halwa only today. She's making, and I'm like, please make it fast. And she's like, no, you like it little more roasted, right? I'm like, no, it's okay today. Just do it. And we have these big thals, like big plates. She puts the whole halwa in that plate and says, go keep it to Swami for prasadam. And I'm like, what the hell? I want to eat this. I'm hungry. I've not had my lunch. And Mama's like, no. Swami, the rule is rule. Please go offer it to Swami. Once he blesses it, you can eat. And I'm like, okay, very reluctantly, really reluctantly. Really, with not even half-hearted, forget 1/4 of that. No heart at all. I would go and keep the inside, and we used to have that curtain thing, and we closed it, and I'm praying. And Mama says, come out. As fast as I could chant, right? Like, I don't know what I was chanting, but I was chanting, and I was like, Mama, ho gaya? And Mama was like, no, wait. Suddenly whenever Swami came home, did a miracle, there was this fragrance that would come. And we all got that fragrance. And Mama said, haan, ho gaya. Swami ki blessing ho gayi, jao. And I run inside. And guess what? The whole plate is over. Only 2 small balls of halwa are left there. And I start to cry. I'm like, Swami ate off all the halwa. He's not good. And my mom is like, please, Swami's blessed us. Don't do that. But the bottom line here again, all innocently, I think messages that he conveys are that he's always there. We get greedy sometimes. Our needs may be more. But even from those small, younger days, how you groom yourself, how Swami groomed, very important lesson into my head at that point of time is don't be greedy. Life is not always going to be what you want. I'll give you what you need, what you deserve. I'll give you more than that. But be patient. Of course, my mom made the second round of halwa. It took a little longer, me more crying and throwing tantrums, but beautiful, beautiful incidents, beautiful memories, beautiful Swami's blessings there. Once the other way around, as a young kid, we had this Shivji's idol at home. And it was lychee season. I don't know how many of you know lychee. English is lychee only, right? Lychee. It was lychee season. And we had got this nice bunch of lychees at home. And I was like, no, I want to have lychee. And my mom's like, no, first Swami, go keep it there in the mandir. I'm like, okay. Again, as a youngster kid, not expecting much, but okay, I go keep it there. And my mom's like, okay, you're going to get only counted 5. Everybody has to get, right? 5. That's it. And I'm like, no, I want more. No, 5. So the negotiation has begun there, and I'm like negotiating. I'm like, no, no, no. So Mama like, Swami also has to eat. No, no, no. While this negotiation is happening, we get this fragrance, and Mama's like, okay, Swami's come. Okay, let's go. So we go to the mandir. Guess what? This time I win. This time I win. Swami's peeled off all the lychees. Now we have to eat them. We can't leave them because lychees get spoiled, right? So you can't leave them open. So yeah, one victory. Break the rules. His ways of teaching that he's there, abundance. His ways of teaching us these small, small messages is very different. It's only after many, many years that I think back, look back, analyze, try to draw myself into these incidents, these miracles that happen. Each one of them have a story. Each one of them have a message. Each one of them have something that Swami wanted to convey in a way. He wanted to say something. He wanted to create a memory for us that we could go back to. These are small, beautiful incidents. Would love to share more, but I'm happy to take any questions. Sai brother, when can I take questions, or still time? Okay. So this is the journey that began with Swami, and today the last words of the message were with you, in you, and around you. And I still remember when the last interview that I had with Swami, it was in Brindavan. My sister's here, she was there, my mother was there. Swami called us in, and I was very upset that he had asked me to go back to Jalandhar. I was very upset. We both had been fighting for 3 months. And it was a very tough time. And I was like, no, Swami, I'm not going back. And he's like, you're going back. I'm like, I'm not going. He's like, no, you're going. He booked my tickets, and I was like, I'm not going. And my parents were called, my mother was called, and I'm not going. He held my hand and said our family things, and then he said, I'm with you, in you, around you, always there with you, guiding you, watching you. With that assurity, I moved on into this world. It wasn't easy when I came back to the normal world. First year in Punjab in Kendriya Vidyalaya school, I was ragged. I was ragged properly, thoroughly ragged. Because guess what? I put vibhuti, I put oil on my head, and the first student I met in the school, I said, sister, can you show me my class? Punjabi school in Punjab, and I'm like, sister, show me my class. So kids came with their scales, and they would do that, and then they would do that science experiment that you could lift the paper, right? So it was quite a traumatic experience for me, but then that propelled me saying that break the rules. If I hadn't done that at that point of time, it would have broken me. It definitely would have broken me. Someone had written on the blackboard something nasty about me, iski sister and all that, right? So it was very, very painful for me. But then I took it in the positive spirit because he was with me. So I said, when I go in the evening for bhajans, I'll put the vibhuti, I'll put the oil, but not in the school then, right? It took me some time. It's not that easy as I'm saying it. It wasn't this easy. It was quite a bit of turmoil. Everyone looked at me as if, oh, he had been shunned from Parthi, so there must be something wrong with him. They didn't know what conspired between me and my mother there inside, what relationship we had. Nobody knows that. But today, social media is almost like that, right? Nobody knows what's happening in anybody's life. Everybody says, oh, nice pictures and everything is fine, hunky-dory. There's much deeper things behind those scenes. And for me, that struggle taught me so much. And for me, it was one simple thing. One simple thing. That Swami students have to succeed in normal life. I cannot let myself fail because I'm carrying that badge. And what was my strength? My strength was I played tabla. So one of the prayers days, Kendi Vidyalaya, they used to have prayers in the morning, and I went and played tabla. So I suddenly became the hero. Hey, yeah, he plays tabla. And honestly, I don't play that well, but yeah, I could play. So, but it became a good thing. In one of the sports days events, I had done a drill where I had played basketball on skates. That was the drill we had done. On skates, we did a drill. I forget this sir's name. He had taught us. And we had learned that, and so that's how I got interested in basketball. And I could shoot a little bit. And Parthi, we played very well. I mean, we played cricket, we played football, we played soccer. I mean, not the American football, the football. And I was good at sports. English, I spoke because that was the only language spoken in the school. So in Punjab, I could speak English, so you can imagine, right? That is a big plus. But then life turned around. I did turn around my life. I represented KV in national level in basketball. Became the school captain in 11th. So broke the rules, all rules. I'd not watched TV even up till then. And then I got an opportunity to work in the film industry. And I asked my friends, I was like, what do you think? And my father, first thing he says, स्वामी का कोई स्टूडेंट एक्टिंग नहीं करता है, तू कहां से करेगा? I was like, yeah, that's the right thing. Break the rule. Of course, I enjoyed my time there and I did that part. But yes, break the rules. Carried Swami's message there also. Probably I would have opened the most expensive wine bottle. There is one, but I've never touched liquor. I've kept my promise to him and my mother. It's just how you define what you're doing. You have to be in the world. I go out, I have meetings, we socialize and we do entertain our customers many a times, our guests and so forth. But it's up to me that I drink or I don't drink. I don't. I chose not to, right? I promised not to. I broke the rules, but not so much that I break the relationship, no. Breaking the rules for good. So break the rules. Feel free to break the rules. Not so much, again, but break them. They're meant to be broken. Rules are there to be broken. My PPT must be somewhere in my laptop, Sai brother, but break the rules, right? So I was not supposed to present the PPT today. So some of the thoughts that I'm sharing again are random. I'm listening in and saying, okay, what next? Tell me what next. So I'm waiting for him to tell me what next. Starting from there, this journey that I shared with you guys about coming back to the normal world, it was very, very difficult. I think in the introduction, Sai brother mentioned about my parents doing some seva. There was a year when my father decided that there would be bhajan in Jalandhar every day. I think it was the 65th birthday or something, Swami's 65th birthday celebration. I don't recollect, but. And I had just gone back. I'd gone through my own struggles, my own settling in or unsettling in. And our routine was that father would return from the bank. Swami had blessed us with a small Fiat car at that point of time. And the Fiat car boot had dholak, chimta, a speaker set, 2 mics, and we would go to a random person's house. Not random, what I'm saying random is every time a new person's house. We would set up the mandir, we would set up the mic system, People would join in and we would do bhajan. That was spreading Swami's message. That's what we wanted to do. And that's my father's wish was. As I was talking to him this morning, he was mentioning that 1 year complete. Even the bank closing days are very tough days. I'm sure if any bankers are here, they would relate to it, right? Closing the banks in those days in India was very tough for the branch managers, so to say. They had to work extra hours and so forth. But for my father, his colleagues would say, Rajput Sahab, aap jao. Hum sambhal lenge. And touch wood, Swami always looked after. Always. Always. He always looked after. And we did that successfully for 1 year. And my father was like, we were just talking. He's like, can you believe it? 1 year non-stop, not even 1 day gap. I was just becoming a cool kid, and it was a little awkward for me to carry when the car would go in the pit, it would do chung chung because the chimta was there, right? Not that cool, but we are shy students, right? So we carried that along, and it was a pride moment. But that wave, that momentum that we built during that time was beautiful. We had a great samiti. We had a great bunch of people coming together. The bhajans were wonderful. Bhajans were wonderful. Not always in Sur and Tal, but they were wonderful experiences. People from all walks of life learnt bhajans. People came from all walks of life, brought in instruments, and they all played instruments. And it became such a wonderful group of people that we would, while my friends played cricket in the evening in the streets, many times I left off my batting, which is very painful because I had to go for bhajan. But bend the rules, break the rules, little bit. And everybody knew that he has to go, he has to go. It's not that life doesn't bring in struggles. I've had my fair share of struggles. I've had my own ups and downs, without which I don't think, again, coming back to the point, right? The earnestness goes away sometimes when we are too comfortable. So he pulls us back. That's his way of saying, don't forget, main bhi hoon. While dil mange more, he says, main bhi hoon. And after all this, he says, main hoon na. He says that also. That's his loving way of again telling us that he's there with us every step, every step. Going through these incidents, going through these beautiful moments in Parthi, break the rules. Again, he's saying to share this with you guys. So we had a house in Jalandhar. We have a house in Jalandhar. And my parents wanted to sell off that house and buy another house somewhere else. Something was going on. And evening darshan time, my father had called and said, can you ask Swami, should we sell the house? And I said, okay, I'll ask Swami if we can sell the house. Papa, like, we're getting great value for the house. Let's sell it off. And I tried asking Swami a few times, and he would just say, hey. He would just say, hey. I'm like, Dad, Swami is not answering. He's like, Bitta, bahut achhi offer hai, lene do. And Swami would still not say anything. And I'm like, please, Swami, Papa is asking, please, thoda sa adjust. In the meantime, my dad goes ahead and takes the byana. I don't know what is byana, is like a deposit money. Right? He takes the byana, and you know the penalty if you take the byana and then you don't fulfill it. So he's taken the byana. During the bhajan, Swami comes out. I'm sitting right behind that circle used to be there, that symbol and that big circle. I'm sitting in the end. That day was some exam or something. So I'm sitting at the back and studying. During the bhajan, Swami comes out and comes around the circle, comes at the back and says, where's Santosh? And he looks at me and I'm like, huh? He's like, why are you sitting in the back? I said, Swami, I got exam. Like, tell your father not to sell the house. I'm like, oh shit. Papa just took the bhyana. I mean, he's just taken the advance and now he's Swami saying, don't sell the house. So I called my dad in the night and I was like, after the bhajan, I go out and I call him. Those days, STD calls used to be there. So I called dad and said, Dad, Swami said not to sell the house. Dad's like, oh shit, I've taken this thing. What do I do? I said, I don't know. Go take it back. He's like, I'm not walking in the garden, boss. This is different. I'm like, I don't know. You asked me to ask Swami. I asked and he said no. Guess what? Next day, the guy calls my dad and says, I want to come and meet you. My dad's like, oh shit. Even more bad news. This guy comes next day and says, Rajputji, I've given you the bhyana, but I can't buy the house. Don't forfeit my money. Can you return my money? My father like, take. He breaks the rules for us. The rule is my father is actually supposed to lose that money. He broke the rule. And to look after us, to look after each one of our needs. He knows what's best for us. He's there smiling, guiding, watching. You know, I still remember that sitting that day, I was feeling so bad that I was studying at the back because for the exam, I'm not great at study. So, you know, studying was like painful thing, right, at that point of time. And I'm like, I should have sat in the front and asked Swami earlier itself, no? And then I'm thinking, I asked him so many days, I've been asking Swami, and he's been just saying, hey, that's his Leela, that's his love, that's his way of doing things for us. Maybe he wanted us to go through that experience and say, patience, maybe we didn't have enough patience. All these incidents, if you listen in, these are, a reflection of what's happened. Maybe a few years back, if I had spoken about these incidents in life, maybe there was a different meaning to these. But as you go through in your life, the more you share, I guess even my perspectives open up. As I'm speaking, I'm also realizing how many rules he's broken for us. How many rules? I was not well in primary school. I had this severe allergy or cold or fever. And Thursdays and Sundays were the only days we were allowed to go for darshan. And I'm not well, and there was this dorm which was only for sick kids. Next to the teachers' rooms, there was a sick kids ward or whatever you want to call it, right? So all the sick kids would be there. And I'm kind of quarantined there, and I'm not allowed to go for darshan because I'm not well. And I'm mad. I'm mad because I'm not allowed to go for darshan. I'm angry with auntie, and I'm like, she's like, anyways, I told you already, I was a trouble kid, right? So she's already trying to console me that you cannot go. If you go, it'll be a problem. I hadn't slept the night because I was having trouble breathing. It was a very disturbed night. So after everybody left in the morning, whole hostel to us, right? A few sick kids, and I sleep. And I see Swami. And he's come, he's blessing me, he's talking to me. And as he's calling out my name, I wake up. I'm like, oh shit, what a dream, beautiful dream, wonderful dream. And then I suddenly realized I hadn't brushed my teeth since morning. So I wake up. So as you come out of the dorm, there's a wash basin like this, and there's a door. So the last tap, I go and I start brushing my teeth. And I'm brushing my teeth and I'm thinking about the dream. And I'm still feeling a little heavy in the head because of the cold. And suddenly I hear, ch-ch. I'm like, kaun hai yaar? And I'm still looking down and brushing. And then suddenly I hear the clap. And I'm not looking up, I'm brushing because I know nobody's there. I don't know who's asking me or who's calling me. And suddenly I heard, Dona Pota. I look up and there's Swami. Exactly the way I'd seen in my dream. Of course, Dona Pota is little too much, but okay. I run, I go there. He says, Kya hua? And again, I gave the idli example, right? And I'm like, Swami, fever. He says, that I know. He creates vibhuti, blesses me, pretends as if he's come for something in the hostel. Something, he's never come to the hostel like this. Never during the darshan time. Never. Break the rules. Break the rules. Because if Swami would have come when all the kids were there, I wouldn't have had this chance. So he had to break the rule of leaving the mandir during the darshan time, before the bhajans, after the interviews, to come to the hostel when nobody is there. Of course, Muni auntie, Warden auntie, kitchen auntie, everybody had to run from there because they saw Swami coming and they were scolding me that, "Hame kyun bhagate ho tum?" Right? But that's his loving way of breaking the rules for you. He breaks the rules for you. And I think for us also, many times I myself say, "Kaam bahut hai yaar, very busy." Today I still have a missed call on. We are working on a RFP document. The teams actually met and I saw some missed calls. But I just told myself, it's okay. I can break the rule. Even if I'm not there, it's going to happen. He'll take care. Break the rule. Why I broke the rule? I originated the meeting. I sent the invite to everyone on a Saturday morning because submission is on 28th. But I have to break the rule. I just told myself, I said, if it was normal me prior to this, I would have said, no. I'll step out 5 minutes. I'll tell them, take the call, allocate the duties, check the progress, and then I'll come. But I told myself, no, that will happen. That will take care. Swami will take care of that also. But today I have a chance to share my experiences with you on a beautiful day. And he asked me to convey this message to you guys. I don't know what it means to break the rules in each one of your lives, but please do think. This is what he's saying today. He's asking all of us to look in and say, break the rules, be different, think out of the box. Each one of us or you or whoever in your family is going to have a different definition and interpretation for this. But take this opportunity. Please think outside the box, break the rules, break the rules, break the rules. Sai Ram. Please.
1 second, Dr. Rao. Let me get the microphone.
Sai Ram. Beautiful message. Break the rules. The question is, break whose rules? Your rules or somebody else's rules?
So there's a very beautiful thing, right? Whatever Swami says, it has a different meaning and interpretation for all of us. That's the beauty of Swami's message. Do you guys agree to that? Anybody who interprets Swami's message, first thing I say, don't do it. Absorb it, because each one of us has a different meaning of it. That's why I was very careful. I told him, don't make me say these things. People already tell me I'm breaking the rules. And he's like, no, you have to say break the rules. My PPT, such a nice PPT I'd made, Saibala. Okay, sorry. Coming back to your question. It's not anybody's rule. I think it's the need of the hour. It's the phase that we are going through, the unprecedented times that we saw during COVID. If we don't adapt, if we don't change or break the rules that we were normally assigned to, I think we lag behind somewhere. That's my take. Because the rules that were written were for a normal world. which we were so used to, they've been broken. So whether it is Samiti, whether it is organizations, whether it is offices, whether it is our personal lives, I think everything has changed. So for us to carry on Swami's message, I think we'll need to think out of the box. So break the rules there. To your question, I think it's not anybody's rule. How do we bring momentum back to Swami's organization? I think that's something that we need to think through.
Saram.
I wasn't expecting that to be such a serious answer. I was more thinking like, if I break my own rules, I don't have to be worried about it. If I break somebody else's rules, they'll break me.
Break the bank, that's a different thing. Break the rules is a different thing.
So, brother, couple of things I wanted to hear from you, which one is something about your birth. I was told by sister that something special, how you came into this world. And the second thing is something about chits. Swami gives message to you, people in the house. So if you can take a little bit on those two, that'll be good. Sarah.
Okay. So in my introduction, I said my family was associated with Swami before my birth itself. So before I share that experience, I like to just, with all humility, I would like to share this. You know, all of us have our own journeys with Swami also, spiritually also. And my learning is our bank balance from the past life, the carry forward, is what actually helps us get ahead in this life. I probably had a lot of bank balance. So it's not me in this birth. So don't see me like this. My previous birth's bank balance actually helped me get whatever blessings I had from Swami. Of course, this is my last one, so I have to be careful. So before my birth, my story is, my mother was seriously ill. Doctors had given up on her. They were living in a remote Punjab village called Bilga, a very, very remote village. My father used to work as a branch manager outside, but Bilga was the only place that they could afford. The situation at home was extremely bad. My grandfather had fallen from a tree and his legs apparently had come till his ribs, and they had fixed him up, but they said he would die of pain. Only one earning member in the house, that is my father. My mother is not well. Doctors had given max 3 to 6 months. My grandfather extremely ill. My father having to travel every day. My mother's had not good health prior to this also. She'd had some miscarriages before, so it was not a good situation in the family. And as I said, I think this is the time when the earnestness of the prayer is the maximum. That's when, pukar, that earnestness, that prayer that comes out is the most genuine. Everything down. I mean, it couldn't get any worse than this. So my father, they've seen all the English medicine, so to say, and they're done. Everybody said no. And now they said, ghar pe puja path karo. So in olden days, you would have the house like this, and then you would have the veranda, and veranda mein one almirah. That almirah used to be the mandir. And next to the almirah, there were like these shelves where you would keep those pickle jars and all that stuff, right? So that's how the typical Punjab village house would be. And this almirah would be the mandir. You would have a chatai, and chatai is a mat. Okay, you would just put a mat and you would sit there and do the puja. So the prayers had started. So Ramayan part, Bhagavad Gita ke shlokas, and parents were spiritually aligned. Blessings of Anandmay Ma, my divine mother. Hari Baba ji, Sant ji, all associated in my father's life. But this was a very dire state. Nobody there at this point of time. And there was Hakim ji in the village. Hakim is the local Ved, right? And my father felt that now that English doctors have said no, so why not, just to make sure that, there is some kind of medication, let's just see this guy also. So while he's leaving for the bank in the morning, he takes my mother along and says, knocks at the door and says, Hakim ji hain. So his wife answers and she says, no, he's doing puja. You'll have to wait. So my father looks at the watch and says, okay, I can't wait. Why don't you tell him your problem? And then I'll catch up with him in the evening. Father leaves and the lady of the house requests my mother, why don't you do the puja? Because we were already doing pujas at home. The time is little. They remove the curtain and my mother sits there in that room and she sees a photograph and she gets a feeling that this person can help her. Whatever happens, my father is back in the evening. He comes and, in Punjab, my mother used to have that ghungat a little bit because grandparents were there. So she used to have a little bit of ghungat and she's crying. And my father's like, please don't cry. We're doing everything to make you happy. These are last days. So he's like, don't cry. We're doing everything. What do you want? And she's like, if you don't mind, I've got a photo. Can I keep it in the mandir? My father like, there are 20 photos here. Put one more. Doesn't matter. My mother is very happy. She goes and she puts the photo there. So next day morning, my father goes and he sees the picture. And what he sees is a person in a robe with curly hair. And he thinks he's probably a Hollywood or a hippie kind of a guy. And somebody's there. And my father is like, Arey baap re. Ramayan padho yaar. But he's respecting that it's her wish. So he respects that and says, okay, fine. So my mother goes back to the Hakimji again and says, how do I worship him? Who's he? So he tells her about Sai Baba for the first time. My parents haven't met him, haven't heard about him, nothing. And the picture that is there in the mandir is the only connection with Swami at that point of time. And he tells my mother, there's no puja or anything for Sai Baba, right? So my mother's like, there should be something, there must be something that I can do. So he says, okay, do one thing. Keep a glass of water in the morning. शाम को वही अर्पण करके वही पी लेना. खाना रख दो स्वामी को, वही कर दो. हम तो यही करते. Very simple. So my mother comes back, तांबे के glass, what do you, तांबा is brass. Brass glasses. So we used to have these Punjabi brass glasses and she cleaned it up properly and kept it in the morning. And in the evening, she would just drink that. So how she would drink it is like this, and she would pour. On the Thursday, I think, if I remember correctly, she was drinking this, and suddenly she says, Amrit ban gaya, Amrit ban gaya. And she runs from home to this house of Vaidji, Hakimji. And she's like, this has happened. And Hakimji is like, okay, Swami's blessed you. Definitely there is blessings in this. The whole water had turned into Amrit. Now, we didn't know the meaning of Amrit. We didn't know what this miracle means. No understanding of anything of that sort. But the only meaning was that something had happened. My father was called. They sent a person to Jalandhar, brought him back. And, my mother had run off without the ghungat. So they thought that, she's not well. So something has happened. They feared the worst. My father came back and said, guys, I am the only earning member in this house right now. What is this nonsense? ये कुछ नहीं होता ये सब, छोड़ दो ये सब. कुछ खुशबू कुछ गिर गया होगा, कुछ ऊपर से गिर गया होगा. Something might have happened. And I'm talking about a man who believes in miracles, by the way. He's associated with great saints in India. And he's seen miracles. And he's like, no, nothing. Please, don't send messages like that. She's fine. Everybody's fine. And Hakimji is like, स्वामी ने आप पे कृपा करी है. He's like, अच्छा, धन्यवाद. Things continue like this. The following week, there is vibhuti and small black pills that have come from the photograph. My father is called again. And this time when he comes, there is a crowd in the veranda. And they are saying, Swami ने blessing कर दिया, ये आप अपनी wife को और पिताजी को दे दो, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. My father is now very confused. He's never seen or heard anything like this. And he thinks to himself, what if this is not what they are saying? And in my father's words, he says, वो चूहे मारने की दवाई होती है ना, for killing the rats, those small tablets, those days. He said, it looked like those. And he said, हो सकता है. Maybe some mice came and kept them there, or maybe something's happened. Maybe somebody's kept them for mischief. If they eat and something happens, they'll say, I wasn't able to take care of them and I killed them. So, big problem. Everybody's sitting there, everybody's talking about it. And my father says, okay, let's do one thing. I'll take the tablet first. If nothing happens to me, I'll give it to my wife. And there goes my grandmother. She starts wailing loudly. She says, you're the only earning member. If something happens to you, we are all gone. So it's a very dire state. So this learned Swami's devotee says, do me a favor. Why don't we just pray to him who's given this? Let him guide us. So they bring the thal again, the big plate with jot. And they pray, they keep the thing, they close the cupboard and they pray. They all pray. And again, that fragrance. After some time, there's a fragrance and Hakimji says, Swami aaye pakka. And that was the first time my father had felt anything like that. They open the cupboard and the plate, it's written with sindoor, it's written, ये दवाई ममता और पिताजी के लिए है, साईराम बोल. And there was my father, he says, he just broke down on his knees, he cried. And he says, whichever divine power you are, thank you. They took the medicines. My grandfather lived for 100 years. My mother's doing well, touch wood, she's there. That was how we started our association with Swami. Our journey with Swami started. He broke the rules there also. We didn't know him. He wanted to bring us into his divine lotus feet or to his divine lotus feet. And that's how he pulled us. And again, this is the bank balance thing that I spoke about, right? This must have been the bank balance from somewhere previous words. And that's how the whole family and all of us got to know Swami. Thank you.
So I think we have any more questions. Even online, anybody has questions you can ask. If not, we will conclude. Just want to thank Brother Santosh for a wonderful, wonderful talk. Please, big hand. Yeah, when we started talking, you know, he had all this PowerPoint and all these things. Now I know why. When I asked him this morning, he said no PowerPoint. So now I know why. The second thing was, of course, I was expecting some more experiences of his. But again, you know, from our experience and everybody else who comes here, Swami only lets you talk what he wants you to talk. You know, you're just basically a speaker, like an amplifier, you know, speaker, not a talker. So, you know, many a times people come here with scripts and PowerPoints, doesn't help. And Swami, he makes sure he only tells you what you want to tell. So it's so wonderful. The talk was very interesting. It's you know, on philosophical side and, you know, break the rules. It's a very good perspective to see that from a different point of view. So thanks again, brother. And We'd like to felicitate you for coming by. So Mahesh Dantam Sethi, who is our treasurer, would like to honor you. Please come this way. Come near Swami's chair. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks again, and we hope to see your sister and her family give their version of their stories also another time. We look forward to it. And now we'll do with the Aarti. If you can just stay back, we'll do it.